Welcome to the Practically Healthy Life Show with your host, Dr. Tursha Hamilton. Our goal is to educate, inform, inspire, and empower you to better health and to motivate you to make good health a practical part of your daily life. If you have any comments or questions about today's topic, post them in the comment section, or you can send an email to info@practicallyhealthy.org. Now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy today's topic.
Greetings and welcome to the Practically Healthy Life Show. I'm your host, Dr. Tursha Hamilton, and today I want to talk about the 12 most common causes of hypertension. The 12 most common causes of hypertension. I believe that understanding what the most common causes of hypertension are, that we as a community will be armed with the knowledge of how we can best take control of hypertension and even beat it in many instances, because we understand the causes and now we can know what to do in order to take control of the situation. Now, before I get into the causes of hypertension, I want to explain what hypertension is. What exactly is hypertension? Now, I want you guys to bear with me. I used to teach medical terminology, so I am going back to my medical terminology teaching days to go into this. But hypertension, the word itself is a two-part word. The first part is hyper. Now, whenever I was taught the word hyper, I could never get the concept of hyper versus hypo, which is the opposite meaning, in my head. But what helped me understand that term or that part of the word is hyperactive children. Hyperactive children. So whenever I saw the part of the word hyper, I thought too much. They doing too much. It's always too much, right? So hypertension is too much tension. Now, the part of the word tension, or the word tension, means pressure, stress, something that's pushing against something else, pressure. So the word hypertension literally means too much pressure, too much pressure. Now, why is that important? The reason why I wanted to make sure that you understood that is because the concept of hypertension is a really, really simple one. It's a complex condition, but it's a very, very simple concept. Hypertension literally is how much pressure it takes for your heart and your blood vessels to exert pressure on the blood and fluid in your vessels, in your cardiovascular system, to get that blood to flow from one part of the body to the other. Now, sometimes it doesn't take very much pressure. When you're younger, when you are, as you're growing up, when you're healthy, when you're well hydrated, the heart, the blood vessels don't have to do a whole lot of work in order to get blood from one place to another. As you get older, as your blood pressure gets higher, then your heart, your blood vessels have to do so much more work in order to move the blood from one place to another. Now, why do you want to move blood? Well, because one, motion is life. Movement is life. If your blood stops moving from one place to the other, you are no longer alive. You want blood to move from one area of the body to the other area of the body, because you want the oxygen, the nutrients, the hemoglobin, you want the water, the minerals, you want the fats, you want all of those things that are in the blood to go ahead and nourish and feed every single cell in your body. You need a way for your hormones that are produced in one part of the body to actually travel and get to another part of the body. You need your waste materials that are being created in the body to move from the places where they're being created to the other areas of the body so that they can be filtered and eventually removed. This is why it's important to have your blood flow from one area to the other in a seamless, non-stressed out manner. So when your body has trouble doing that, when your body has to work extra hard to do that, those other things that I just named, the reasons why you want your blood to flow from one area to the other, those things can't work nearly as well because your body has to struggle in order to make that happen. So your cells are not being fully nourished. Your cells are not being fully cleansed. The trash is not being taken from one cell to another with the most expediency. Your organs of elimination can't work as well because they're not getting that fresh supply of blood that needs to be filtered as often. So when your blood pressure is higher, it compromises the rest of your body for those reasons. Now, the reasons why you want to know why blood pressure gets high, or at least these 12 common reasons, is because I feel like if you are armed with the knowledge of why blood pressure tends to raise, what causes blood pressure to become hyper, then you are armed with the knowledge of how you can best control your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is already normal, then excellent. Congratulations. Unfortunately, you are not among the more common of us out there. You want to keep it that way. You want to keep your blood pressure lower, not too low, but lower. You want to keep it in a normal range. If your blood pressure is already high, whether you are pre-hypertensive or you are hypertensive or you are dangerously hypertensive, if you can understand why your blood pressure is high, then you can start to take steps to actually control it and hopefully do that with less dependence on medication or being able to remove the medication completely. But that's only if you're able to control your blood pressure. Now, here are the 12 most common reasons. According to some medical experts, the medical experts on hypertension that I've read up on, here are 12 of the most common reasons. And I'm just going to list these. So go ahead and get your paper and pencil out and jot these down so that you can see them. You can see the reasons. Number 1, smoking. Number 2, being overweight or obese. Number 3, low levels of physical activity. Number 4, high salt intake. Number 5, high alcohol intake. Number 6, stress. Number 7, getting older. Number 8, genetics. Number 9, family history of hypertension. Number 10, chronic kidney disease. 11, adrenal and thyroid disease. And 12, poor sleep. Now I'm going to go through these. I'm going to do so relatively quickly because I don't want to spend too much time on this. I want to give you the information, let you think about it, and then we can delve into these a little bit more at a little later date. Smoking. Smoking for a lot of people is, they do it because it is a stress reliever. It has become a part of their habit, what they do every day. The nicotine and other chemicals in the cigarette smoke actually go into the body and produce a sense of calm in the body. The problem is that smoking produces hundreds of toxic chemicals, literally hundreds of toxic chemicals that is released into your body when you inhale that smoke that your body has to deal with. And over time, even though you feel a sense of calm, over time, those toxic chemicals that go into the body, into the lungs, into the bloodstream, gets filtered by the liver, actually tax the body a little bit more. So smoking can help to increase your blood pressure over time, even though it feels like a great stress relief. Being overweight or obese. Now, I don't know personally if being overweight or obese actually causes hypertension. Well, let me take that back. In some cases, being overweight and obese actually causes hypertension. In other cases, What caused the what caused the obesity itself is what causes the hypertension as well. So as someone increases in size, their blood pressure is also increasing. All right, so it's kind of a twofer. So I know you've heard before that once you lose weight, your blood pressure will start to decrease, and that's absolutely correct because you're starting to take control of those things that are causing both of those. And as people get bigger, as your body weight, your body mass, your body fat percentage starts to increase, you start to decrease the amount of fat, adipose tissue that is surrounding your heart, that is surrounding your other organs, that is starting to coat the inside of your blood vessels. And just getting rid of those things can help to decrease the amount of pressure against your heart and the amount of pressure that your heart puts on the blood to pump. So by decreasing your weight, decreasing your body fat percentage can absolutely help to decrease your blood pressure. Decreased physical activity. The simple way to think about it is, if you think about children, you know that if they don't get a certain amount of playtime every day, that they're going to start bouncing off the walls. It's kind of like that soda bottle that you shake and shake and shake, and you can feel the pressure build up. And once that pressure is released, pop, they explode. But if you can find a way to harness that energy in a more creative way, they're less likely to pop, and that energy can be used for more beneficial reasons. It is more manageable. Same thing for you as an adult. You want to increase your physical activity so that your energy on the inside can be at a healthy level, and you're exercising your heart and making it stronger so that there's less opportunity for that pressure to build on the inside. High salt intake. Now, that's also a multi-factor issue. One, sodium chloride. If we eat a lot of sodium chloride, then we're eating a lot of just those two nutrients, the sodium and the chloride. Any nutrient that you eat in excess without the balance of other nutrients will cause problems. There are other types of salt out there, and I would recommend that you start looking into other types of salt so that you get more of a balance. But when you start to, again, take in a lot of salt, a lot of sodium chloride, you run the risk of having your body go out of balance. This is because the water in your body follows certain nutrients. That's just chemistry. Where sodium enters, so does water. So if you have a lot of sodium in your blood vessels, then you will have more water taken from the tissues in your body and put into the bloodstream to try to help dilute that sodium. So if you can balance those minerals out, use different types of salt so that you have more than just sodium and chloride, you can help to balance that response of water that is supposed to follow sodium. You can help to balance that so that some of that water can leave the blood, leave the cardiovascular system, leave those vessels, and go back into the surrounding tissues where they're supposed to be. High levels of alcohol. Point blank, y'all, alcohol is toxicity. Alcohol is a toxic substance. On low levels, if you have lower levels of alcohol in your bloodstream, 1, maybe 2 drinks a day, depending on how much alcohol is actually in the beverage, you are increasing the burden that your cardiovascular system, your liver, and so many other tissues in your body have to deal with. And by doing that, you are increasing the amount of stress that your body is under. Stress. Stress, I already told you, the term hypertension means high levels of pressure, high levels of stress. What I've personally noticed in my own body is that when my life is stressful, it directly corresponds with my level of blood pressure. If I am under stress and I don't realize it, and someone takes my blood pressure that's high, as soon as I reassess my life, I realize that I am under a lot of stress. And in order for me to get my blood pressure down naturally, quote unquote, I have to take control of my stress level. Stress is a direct correlation to blood pressure. Getting older. We cannot stop getting older. There's no way we can stop getting older. But there are some things that you can do to help to decrease the chances of your becoming hypertensive just because you are getting older. If you start doing some of these other things, then getting older is just getting older. It's not getting old. It doesn't have to mean having high blood pressure that is deadly or toxic to the body. So don't despair. Just because you're getting older does not mean that you have to be hypertensive. It just means that your body is responding to all of these other things, the years of accumulation of all of those other factors, and that equals higher blood pressure as you get older. But absolutely, your blood pressure can be normal as you get older and still be healthy without drugs even. Genetics. Now, there are, you hear that certain genders have higher blood pressure, certain ethnicities have higher blood pressure, and that is absolutely correct. Genetics is not something that you can change, but again, there are 11 other factors, well, 10 if you take age out. There are 10 other factors that you can control that will help to decrease the amount of pressure in your vessels. So don't despair that just because you rolled the genetics dice and you are armed with the gender and the ethnicity that is more likely to have higher blood pressure, don't despair. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to. You just have to take control. You have to be more diligent about taking control of the other areas that will cause or lead to being hypertensive. Family history. It is definitely true that if your family has a history of hypertension or other diseases, that you are more likely to get it. That does not mean that you have to get it unless unless it's where the gene turns on at a certain time in your life and it just manifests itself. That is the case for very few people. When someone has a family history of a disease, it doesn't mean that you are doomed to get that disease from most people. What oftentimes it means is that if you have this genetic similarity with the other people in your family and you tend to eat the same way that your family members eat, your activity level is the same as your family members' activity level, your thought processes are the same as your family members, then you are more than likely to get the same diseases. But once you start making changes in your life, in your mind, in your diet, in your activity level, your chances of getting those diseases, hypertension and others, is likely to decrease because you've already changed some of the environmental factors. Chronic kidney disease. Take care of your kidneys, y'all. Take care of your kidneys. You must, on a regular basis, at least yearly, go to your doctor, get a physical, get some blood work, get your kidneys checked out, because your kidneys are one of the organs that are responsible for monitoring the level of fluid in your body, the level of toxicity, the level of metabolic waste, the level of nutrients that might be in excess. The job of your kidney is to filter the blood of excess fluid and other things, fluid, trash, and nutrients, so that you don't have so much floating around in your cardiovascular system. If your kidneys are compromised, if your kidneys are not working the way they're supposed to, they cannot clean your blood the way they're supposed to. And if they cannot clean your blood pressure will raise, because now you have extra fluid, extra trash, extra nutrients that are there that don't need to be there, that your body needs to filter out, and that causes excess pressure. Adrenal and thyroid, that takes a whole lot of explanation, but just know that your fight or flight system, your hormones, your metabolic rate are all controlled, at least in some small part, by those two small organs, your adrenals and your thyroid. And if those two organs are not being well managed, well cared for, then your blood pressure is likely to increase. Sleep apnea, insomnia, non-restful sleep, those things, if you don't get enough sleep, if you don't get enough restful sleep, then it is stressful in the body, and it's a cumulative effect. The more you go without restful sleep, the more you go without contiguous sleep, the more stressful your body the more stress your body perceives, the more stressful your body gets, the more your blood pressure will increase. So if you are not getting adequate rest right now, then I encourage you to start first looking at sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene. These are things that you can do every night before you go to bed to just get yourself in a habit of preparing your mind, your body, your home for a more restful sleep. If you're doing these things and you still find that you cannot get restful sleep, then you want to start talking to your naturopathic doctor. You want to start talking to your health coach. You want to start talking to your primary care doc to find out what might be causing your lack of sleep. Because again, if you don't get adequate restful sleep, then you are setting yourself up for not just hypertension, but there are so many studies that show that if you get 5 or less hours of sleep every night consistently, you will gain weight. The lack of sleep will increase your chances of having diabetes. Your lack of sleep will decrease your mental capacity. You cannot think. You cannot be happy. You cannot function properly if you don't have enough sleep. So getting some sleep will increase internal pressure, will increase your hypertension. All right? Those are the 12 main reasons that any given person is hypertensive. Hope that helps. Stay tuned for other episodes of the Practically Healthy Life Show. I will go more in depth about each of these and other reasons why blood pressure is high and how you can maintain it. In the meantime, I want you to connect with me. Come meet me on Facebook, www.facebook.com/DrTursha. That's DrTursha, Dr. Tursha. You can also reach me on other social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Dr. Tursha. If you are interested in working with me to help get your hypertension under control, meet me on my website, DrTursha.com, DrTursha.com. Send me a message and let's talk. I am in the process of starting my new class on hypertension, and I want you to be a part of this group coaching so that we can get your blood pressure to where it needs to be so that you can live your healthiest life. So stay tuned. Next time, join me on the Practically Healthy Life Show. I'm your host, Dr. Tursha. Take it easy, everybody.
Thank you for joining the Practically Healthy Life Show. We hope that today's show has given you the tools you need to form better habits that will allow you to build a stronger foundation of health. Stay connected with us at www.practicallyhealthy.org for the latest updates and upcoming shows. Or connect with Dr. Tursha via Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Dr. Tursha. That's DrTursha. Until next time, may your life be forever healthy, practically.